Hello everyone, this is part 8 of What If Naruto fused with the Kyuubi, and I hope you guys enjoy this video and to like, to subscribe, to share, and check out the playlist, to see more comment down below. Now let's start the intro.
They call me a god. They call me a god. They call me a god.
Join my membership, the perks are great. It's in the description. Be sure to like and subscribe, it gives me more motivation. Enjoy. Naruto and Hinata stared at the three old Basta Council members. Hinata was giving him a look of complete shock, but it was slowly transforming. She had been a shy girl for a long time. She had always let others walk all over her, telling her what to be, how to act. All her frustration had been suppressed for 16 years. But now, things were different. Now, she was confident, wanting to be her own person. The suppression on her anger had already been at the breaking point. Now, it was gone. She was about to let her anger out on the poor unfortunate souls, when a sound stopped her. It was the sound of laughter. She, and everyone else in the room looked at Naruto, who was holding his sides, crying in laughter. The blonde Hanyu wiped the tears from his eyes. Good joke, Nei-chan. Seriously, why are we here? His grin slowly faded at the sight of the angry faces of the elders, and soon its serious look. Naruto sighed. So, it's not a joke. Well, this is awkward. Hinata was barely able to bring her rage into check. And why, pray tell, did the council come up with this decision? Homura straightened his glasses, which had gone askew at the amount of cur intent he sensed off the female Hanyu. Sasuke is the last of the Uchiha. Despite his actions, the council feels it is in the best interest of the village if he is pardoned, and immediately began working towards the restoration of the Uchiha clan. Which of course would then fall under the control of the council, since he would owe you so much. Naruto said sarcastically. So, why Hinata-chan? Koharu glared disdainfully at Naruto. We feel that the union of the Dokishogun, and the Sharingan, would greatly benefit the village. Far more than it would to let the two of you be married. Naruto raised an eyebrow. Ah, I thought as much. Well, I would be seriously pissed off, and might even been tempted to let Kyuubi have a little bit control right now. The three council members blanched at this, if it wasn't for the fact that your plan wouldn't work. Danzu looked him over with his one eye. What? Why wouldn't it work? Naruto sighed, as he leaned against the wall. Well, there are a few reasons. Number one is that there is no Hinata Hyuga. There is only Hinata-chan. So, you might want to rethink that. Auto FN, thank you Leprechaun 1, for pointing that out. Naruto smiled as he continued. Reason 2 is that if Sasuke and Hinata had a child, the DNA wouldn't be compatible. He is pure human, while she is Hanyu, half demon Kitsune, half human. The DNA necessary for the Dokishogun would be completely overwhelmed by Sasuke's DNA, and the child would end up having either the Sharingan, or no Dojutsu at all. Also, the child would have 25 Hanyu DNA, which would mean a slight increase in physical capabilities, as well as senses. In the end, you would have a bunch of mini clones of Sasuke's, all of whom were only slightly stronger than Sasuke himself. Now if we had a kid, Naruto said, causing Hinata to blush, our DNA would fit perfectly, since we are both Hanyu. The children born would have a 1 in 3 chance of developing the Dokishogun, the Byakugan, or not having a Dojutsu at all. My Kitsunegan is unfortunately unique to me because of Kyuubi's chakra, and Hinata only got her variation of it because I applied Kyuubi's chakra to her to save her, and it mutated her Byakugan. It is an actual part of her DNA, so as long as her DNA isn't overwhelmed, all her kids can get either Dojutsu. Not only that, but they all would be Hanyu, which would mean that they would all be at least twice as strong as regular shinobi, with proper training, of course. Naruto smiled at the looks of fury the three council members had. He held up 3 fingers. The third reason is this. The whole thing would rest on whether or not Sasuke, Hinata, and myself would agree to this. Hinata no longer is a Hyuga, so you can't go to them for help. Besides, I doubt they would. I of course, am against it, because I love my Hina Haim. Hinata smiled, and hugged him, her tail wrapping itself around his. Auto FN, I don't know about you guys, but the image of that is so cute, and romantic to me. Wish I had a girlfriend, we were both Hanyu, and could do that. I would never accept that stuck-up, arrogant emo. I would castrate him on our wedding night. Hinata sent death glares to the council, who started to sweat for a moment. Naruto gave them a sudden fox grin. And if you try to force this, then I will personally resign from this village, leave, and take Hinata with me. I'm sure there are more than a few clans who would follow me. And if some of our allies, who I brought to the village, learned I left, how long would they stay allied with you? Auto FN, translation, mess with me, and I will bleed this village dry of its business so fast, you'll think a vampire had its fangs in your N. At this statement, and the foxy grin on his face, Danzu exploded. You worthless demon SC. You dare threaten this village. Tsunade smiled. Council member Danzu, you just broke one of my new, favorite laws. Anbu. In an instant, 5 Anbu surrounded the crippled head of Root. Tsunade's smile grew wider and more sadistic. Take him away to Anbu headquarters. Have a bicky, and Anko work on him, then take him away for his 5 years of hard labor. Homura and Koharu looked in horror as the war hawk was dragged away, shouting curses at the blonde Hanyu. Homura turned to Tsunade. Hokage-sama, surely you jest. You can't be serious about your laws concerning the Naruto. Oh, but I am. Koharu looked at her in disgust. The demon has obviously corrupted you. Tsunade gave her an evil eye. Do you think because you are an elder, you are immune as well? Anbu Squad 2. With that, Koharu was dragged away as well, in the arms of 5 more Anbu. Tsunade turned to Homura. And what do you want to try for? No one has broken law number 2 yet. Homura decided then and there that it was time to consider retirement. Well, given the circumstances, I feel it would be best to keep my mouth shut. Good day, Hokage-sama. Homura left, rather quickly. As he did, the 3 remaining people burst out laughing. I swear, he probably needs to go change his adult diaper now. Naruto fell to the floor, laughing. Hinata was leaning against the wall, trying to keep her ribs from cracking. Eventually, they all settled down enough to talk. Tsunade smiled at the happy couple. So, anything else to report? You said something about talking to me in your mission update. Naruto nodded, still shaking with mirth. It's about one of Sasuke's companions. He could be a valuable asset to the village. But there are complications. As Tsunade nodded, Naruto continued, becoming more somber. He has something in his blood. It's not a bloodline, but rather like a mutation. He has a bipolar personality, one side is calm and peaceful, the other is bloody and violent. This mutation also causes him to turn partially demonic. Orochimaru used him to create his curse seals, then Sasuke freed him, and managed to get him under control. I talked to him, and he just wants to have a purpose in life, like me and Gaara were. Tsunade sighed. Well, what can we do about? He sounds like he could be a threat if he goes demonic. I thought you could take a look, and see if you could do anything to help him control it. I would take him under my wing, so you wouldn't have to worry about it. Tsunade slowly nodded. Well, take a look, but if we can't do anything about it, I don't want to tell you. Naruto nodded. So, what about Sasuke, and the council? Tsunade smiled. I think a council of the clan heads is in order. As for Sasuke, we will let him rot in prison for a while, until the new council decides his fate. Naruto nodded, a little sad. Hinata gently took his hand, and he perked up. He kissed her on the lips, and she returned the favor, until Tsunade shook her head. All right, clear out you two. I have a Cage Summit meeting to prepare for. Oh, and Naruto. Naruto managed to pull himself away from Hinata's lips. Yes. The Raikage wants you to be there. I suggest you make sure you are prepared to. Now go, and meet me at the hospital tomorrow. I'll take a look at your friend Juugo. Naruto nodded, before turning back to Hinata. With a simple nod, the two left. Tsunade simply sat back, happy that the matter had been resolved. To say Sasuke was pissed when he woke up was an understatement. He found himself chained to a wall, with chakra seals placed on him, keeping him from calling on chakra. Several minutes after he woke up, he heard the murmurs of voices, and then footsteps. Eventually, 2 Anbu appeared, with Tsunade behind them. She pulled up a chair, and looked at the Uchiha who glared back. What do you want? Tsunade sighed. To know why you didn't return after King Orochimaru and Itachi. I thought you wanted to rebuild the Uchiha clan. Sasuke gave her a look of pure hatred. Why would I return to this village? Not only is it weak, but is responsible for the death of my clan. Tsunade looked at him for a moment. What do you mean? I mean the council believed the Uchiha were responsible for Kyuubi's attack on Konoha, and my clan prepared to defend itself. They ordered Itachi to end my clan. Tsunade looked at him in surprise. What? Where did you hear this? None of your business. It is my business. Where? Sasuke just smirked at her, as an Anbu appeared next to Tsunade. Hokage-sama, I have very important news. What is it? Upon torturing Danzo and Koharu, Ibiki and Anko discovered information concerning the Uchiha clan, and Itachi Uchiha. Tsunade looked at the Anbu for a moment, and took the report from him. He disappeared, as Tsunade read it. For a few minutes, she just stared at the report in shock, before looking up at Sasuke. Then she turned away. Anbu. Two appeared in an instant. She snapped out orders. Go get Homura Mitokado, and bring him in. Then tell Shizune to call together all the heads of the clans. Go. The Anbu disappeared, and Tsunade sighed. You were right. Anko and Ibiki dragged the information from Danzo and Koharu. Why were they being TD? Sasuke asked with a grim smile. For breaking one of my new laws concerning Naruto. The law stating anyone who abuses Naruto Namikaze, or those related to him by blood or marriage, would be sentenced to 5 years hard labor. Sasuke's smile vanished. Why are you protecting him? You know what he has in him. What he is. Tsunade glared at the Uchiha. Naruto is son of the Yondaime, and an ever-faithful and loyal member of Konoha. He has saved this village many times over. I will do everything I can to ensure his happiness and safety. Sasuke smirked. You know that Akatsuki will come for him, right? Tsunade smiled back. I almost wish they would. I think Naruto would enjoy crushing them. Sasuke's smirk vanished at these words. Tsunade stood up. Until we decide your punishment, this is your new home. Enjoy. She left, leaving Sasuke to ponder what she meant. Naruto, enjoy crushing them. How strong is he? The last of the Uchiha sat there, wondering what had happened while he was gone. The new council had gathered together. Chuminazuka, Chusa Akamaiki, Shibi Aburame, Shikaku Nara, Inoiki Yamanaka, and a Hyuga elder who called himself Hiroto Hyuga. Tsunade quickly entered, and they all hushed. I thank you all for coming at short notice. I'm afraid I have disturbing news. She quickly explained everything she had learned about the loss of the Uchiha clan. When she was done, the council quickly began to talk amongst itself. Hiroto stood up. What will happen now? The previous council will be executed for their transgressions. Tsunade stated this like it was obvious. Yes, but what about Sasuke Uchiha? If all this is true, then he has every reason to hate Konoha, and want it destroyed. He must be dealt with. There were murmurs of agreement around the table. Tsunade held up her hands. As much as I hate Sasuke Uchiha, he is the last of his clan. He may be a traitor, but the Sharingan is very valuable. Shibi slowly stood up. In the insect world, there are many species who simply mate with a male, then eat him. Perhaps the same could be applied here. What do you mean? Simple. Extract what is needed, and dispose of the rest. Auto FN, this may seem cold and heartless, but 2 things. 1. The Aburame deal only in logic, not emotion. 2. Sasuke team deserves it. Tsunade blanched at the idea. I'm not sure. It seems rather cruel and heartless. Perhaps there is another way. Suddenly, it came to her, and she gave a wicked smile. I have an excellent idea. But I need you Inoiki, as well as Naruto, and Kurenai. Naruto and Hinata happily walked with the streets, their cloak hoods down. All around them, the people of Konoha bustled about, living their lives. Ninjas leapt from roof to roof. Many smiled and waved at Naruto and Hinata. They returned the waves and greetings, before arriving at Naruto's favorite spot. Hey old man. How you been? Naruto, Hinata. Good. We were wondering when you would come by again. The usual. As they nodded, Chuki got to work. After a few minutes, Ayami placed bowls in front of both of them, before smiling and rubbing their ears. The both grinned, before digging in. Naruto had started eating at a more sedated pace, and found that his ramen tasted even better. Hinata, meanwhile, had begun to eat more than her usual 1 bowl. Suddenly, a shadow fell over them. Naruto merely kept eating. Hey Kage-sensei. The former Junin of Azu sat down, his new Konoha headband glinting in the sun. He ordered his own ramen, and then smiled at Naruto. Hey, heard you just got back from capturing Sasuke Uchiha. Yeah, where were you? You left on that mission weeks ago. Kage gave a sheepish smile. Well, it took me a little longer to get the information I was after. But, mission success. The three talked, and ate, until Kurenai came running over. Naruto. Tsunade wants to see both of us, right away. Naruto looked at her then shrugged, and stood up. He placed money on the counter for both him and Hinata, then kissed her. I'll see you back home. Then he turned to the red-eye genjutsu mistress. Let's go. The two disappeared, as Hinata went back to her food. Kage looked at her. Any ideas? None whatsoever. But if it requires a Naruto-kun and Kurenai-sensei, it can't be good. How right she was. Alternate chapter. Here's what could have happened, but didn't. This is a summary, as I didn't want to write the whole thing out. Naruto stared at the council in anger. You want to marry Hinata-chan to that team. Be respectful. Sasuke Uchiha is a far better ninja than you will ever be. Which is why he is unconscious after me and Hinata-chan kicked his sorry ass. Danzu's face became red with anger. Leave at once. Naruto just stared at him, then left. Hinata followed behind him. Naruto led her to the roof, then stopped, and turned to her. Hinata-chan, how much do you care about this village? Hinata shook her head. I don't, not anymore. All I care about is you. Naruto nodded. Then will you leave with me? I'm going to resign, and leave. I think I will found my own village. Hinata smiled. Of course I will. I promise to help you rebuild the Namikas. I keep my promises. With that, Naruto Namikas resigned, packed all his belongings, and with Hinata and Kage, left Konoha. Not that long after, Neji and Hanabi Hyuga, the Inuzuka, Aburame, Akamaiki, Yamanaka, and Nara clans, as well as Tsunade, Jiraiya, and almost every other ninja in Konoha left, and joined Naruto in what became the new Azu in the land of Kitsune. Danzu became the new Hokage, except he was left with basically the Root, and the Hyugas. All of Konoha's allies, and even some of their enemies, quickly allied themselves with the new Azu, and its Shodaime Azukage, Naruto Namikas. Konoha quickly fell from power, and became weaker than any other village. But Azu flourished, and became the new fifth shinobi nation in its place. Naruto stood before Tsunade, along with Kurenai, and Inoki. He couldn't believe his pointy, furry ears at what Tsunade wanted him to do. You want us to go into the team's mind, then have Inoki take all my worst memories, and give them to Kurenai, so she can force Sasuke to live those memories in his mind using a genjutsu, so he can't escape from them. Tsunade nodded. Exactly. Kurenai and Inoki merely shrugged. They knew Naruto had a hard life, but how bad could it be? But Naruto shook his head. Not happen. No way. Tsunade sighed. Why not? 1. They are my memories. 2. No one should have to live through what I did. And 3. Sasuke had enough with losing his clan. Why put him through more? Tsunade stood up. As it stands, Sasuke believes he has every right to hate this village, for what the elders and Danzu did to him. She explained what she had learned about the death of the Uchiha clan. Kurenai and Naruto looked at her in shock, while Inoki shook his head. When Tsunade was done, Naruto slowly shook in rage. Let me take care of them. When I'm done, no one will ever even think about doing something like that again. Tsunade placed a hand on his shoulder. I might take you up on that offer. But back to Sasuke. I need him to see the truth. I need him to realize that someone in this village has been through a hell far worse than him, and remained loyal, no matter what. Otherwise, I'm going to have to go with Shibi's idea of punishment. Inoki flinched at what she said, while Kurenai looked at Tsunade with curiosity. Naruto merely sighed in defeat. Fine. But on one condition. Everything they see in my mind remains a SS-ranked secret. No one needs to know about it. Tsunade nodded, while Kurenai and Inoki became apprehensive. Kurenai placed a hand on Naruto's shoulder. Naruto, was your life that bad? You have no idea. Sasuke found himself dragged to an interrogation room, and chained to the chair. Then he was forced to wait an hour, while his TRS arrived. When they finally did, he snorted in derision. The dobe. You sent the dobe to tee me. Hilarious. Naruto just shook his head. I'm not here to tee you. I'm here so they can use my memories to tee you. Sasuke looked at them. His memories. You're going to tee me with Naruto yelling, believe it. A lot, and getting punched by Sakura. Both Inoki and Kurenai looked at each other, but Naruto just shook his head. Sasuke, for what you're about to go through, I pity you. Let's do this already. Inoki nodded, and hooked arms with Naruto and Kurenai. Then he began performing hand signs. Mind invasion jutsu. With that, the three of them slumped, while Sasuke became rigid. Sasuke's mindscape. The three of them found themselves standing in the Uchiha district of Konoha. The district seemed fine, but empty. But as they looked around, they realized all was not all right. The rest of Konoha was burning, and they could hear screams in the distance. Suddenly, Sasuke appeared in front of them. This is where I go when I'm not training or really doing anything. This, of course, will be the future of Konoha. Naruto shook his head. There was a time I would have wished this as well. But that time is past. He looked up at Sasuke, his eyes hard. You think that this village betrayed you? You haven't seen anything yet. Let's get this done. Inoki nodded, and performed more hand signs. Memory transference. He placed a hand on Naruto, and one on Kurenai, who was already set to perform a genjutsu. In an instant, the two of them gasped, and almost lost their concentration. But Naruto bolstered them through his mind, and Kurenai was able to unleash her genjutsu. Sasuke's smirk disappeared in an instant, as Naruto's worst memories washed over him. A thin, 3-month-old baby huddled under a thin blanket, crying to be fed. Eventually, an orphanage worker came in, and smacked the baby, before shoving a bottle in his mouth. The baby almost choked on the rancid milk that came out, but drank anyways. A 3-year-old boy, wearing nothing but ragged pants, rummaged in a trash barrel, rain pouring down his back. A brick came out of nowhere, and said into his back, causing him to cry out. Get out of here, you damn demon. The owner of the restaurant he was behind came out, ready to throw another brick. Naruto ran as best he could, before reaching the box he lived in, and cuddling in it, crying in pain and loneliness. He looked up at the cruel, gray sky. I want mommy, he whispered. 5-year-old Naruto managed to drag himself into his apartment, despite the broken leg he had. There were also a couple kunai in his arms, and he had a black eye. He slowly passed the calendar, which said October 10th on it. He made it to the special bell the Hokage gave him, and rang it, falling over. 1 minute later, an Anbu came in, and swore, before taking Naruto to the hospital. A 9-year-old Naruto watched as the other kids at the academy were picked up by their parents. His usual happy-go-lucky mask was gone, and he cried, feeling the aching loneliness, as he wished he had a mom to hug him, or a dad to tell him he was proud of him. He slowly got off the swing he was sitting on, only to be punched by an older student. Look, it's the future Hokage. Let's give him some respect. Naruto lay there and accepted the beating. If he fought back, the villagers would claim he had attacked his fellow students. Even now, some of the nearby parents were cheering the bullies on. Sasuke screamed in pain and fear, wept in sadness, as he felt every hit, every kick, every emotion that Naruto felt. Hundreds of similar memories washed over him. The mindscape changed, and now there was nothing but blackness. And the memories weren't done yet. Naruto stood on the statue of the Shodaime, listening to Sasuke rant on about how he was done playing ninja in Konoha. The pain and betrayal on him were far worse than any kunai blade. 15-year-old Naruto watched as Sasuke drew his chokuta, preparing to K him. Sasuke had let him live on a whim, not because of their friendship. Naruto knew he was about to and for the first time, he didn't care. Naruto slowly stood up, having trashed his surroundings. His new ears and tail ruffled in the breeze. Naruto ran, one thought going through his mind the entire time. I'm a monster. I have no one left. Sasuke fell to the ground, screaming as he held his head. Kurenai and Inoki stopped, both of them shaking and panting. They looked at Naruto, who just stood there, as if nothing had happened. Finally, Kurenai managed to speak. Naruto, how did you live with all that? Naruto looked up, and slowly smiled. You only saw the bad times. While they may have been few, my good memories were strong enough to keep me sane. Sasuke lay there, unable to move. What he had just experienced was indescribable. All his life, he thought he was the only one deserving pity, because his own brother had killed their whole clan. He thought he alone could truly understand pain. But Naruto's life had been pain. Sasuke's life was nothing compared to Naruto's, especially since he had helped contribute to the tragedy. Slowly he began to cry. Me. Please just me. Naruto glanced at the Uchiha on the ground. He slowly knelt next to him. Why? I don't deserve life. Just me now, and be done with it. And will that be atonement for what you've done? That would be the coward's way out, Sasuke. You need to face what you have done, and deal with it. Sasuke looked up at Naruto. I was a fool. I thought that power was jutsus and SKS. But your strength is unmatchable. No one will ever be stronger than you. Sasuke bowed his head. Whatever my fate, it will not be enough. Naruto shook his head. No, it won't. But it will be a start. Back to reality. The three of them returned to their bee, and Sasuke gasped. He stared at the floor, unable to look up. Naruto merely nodded. Remember, all of you. What you all saw is a SS-ranked secret. I don't need anyone knowing about this. All right. Slowly they nodded. Naruto smiled, and was about to turn to the door, when Inoki stopped him. Naruto, how can you smile after all that? What we saw, how were you able to stay sane? Naruto just smiled. Like I said, the good times were happy enough to level out all the bad. Here, check out my happiest memory. Inoki hesitantly reached out, and touched Naruto's head. A second later, he pulled back, and smiled. You right. If anyone deserves happiness, it's you. Naruto nodded. Now, if you all excuse, I have a potential friend and ninja to help out, and a beautiful vixen to take on a date. With that, he disappeared in a flash of yellow. Tsunade was preparing to examine Juugo, who was brought to the hospital by two Anbu, when Naruto showed up. He smiled at Juugo, then turned to Tsunade. All right Nei-chan, let's get going, shall we? Tsunade nodded, and approached Juugo with a syringe. She gently took some of his blood, then had it taken for analysis. In the meantime, she began a diagnostic just of Juugo. Well, everything seems in order. Unfortunately, due to the seal placed on you, to keep you sane, your chakra network is sealed too. So, if we can't come up with a solution to help you control this, then we'll have to keep the seal on. Juugo looked down for a moment, but Naruto smiled. Well, we could give him to Guy and Lee. They could train him to be a taijutsu master. Tsunade looked scared. And have 3 wackos in green spandex. I don't think so. Just then, a nurse came in with the analysis. Tsunade looked it over, and nodded. Well, it won't be easy, but I think with a little bit of effort from me, Jiraiya, and the Yamanaka, we can have this under control, and he could attend the academy. Naruto smiled, and gave Juugo a one-armed hug. All right. Is there anything I can do? Tsunade shook her head. Nope. Unfortunately, until we do have this under control, he will have to stay at the Anbu headquarters, but I'll make sure he is well taken care of. By the way, how did things go with Sasuke? Naruto's good mood dropped. Taken care of. He's ready for whatever punishment the council decides, and will accept it. Tsunade nodded. Right. We'll take this up with them when me and you get back, as well as dealing with the council. All 3 have been placed in special cells, so they shouldn't be going anywhere soon. Anyways, I've learned the Cage Summit meeting will be held in River Country, so we need to be ready to move. Naruto nodded. Right. I best make sure me and Hinata-chan have a wonderful night together. Well, that's good, but you will be seeing plenty of her on the trip. Naruto looked at her in confusion. Tsunade sighed. I reassigned her, and you, to work under Cage as a 3-man cell. You will be accompanying me to the meeting as my official bodyguards. Naruto stood there for several minutes. You mean, me, and Hinata are on the same team? As Tsunade nodded, Naruto whooped and jumped in the air, before hugging Tsunade. Thanks Nei-chan. This is so great. Then he ran off. Tsunade smiled, as for the first time since his return, Naruto acted like the boy before his transformation. Madara Uchiha watched the remaining members of Akatsuki. Besides himself, there was Pain and Konan, who had barely returned, Kisame, and Zetsu. 5 members left, out of an organization that had 14 members in its history. As it stands, our mission is in peril. The Kyuubi was rescued from our grasp, and all of Team Taka was captured with him. The Kyuubi is now protected by the full might of Kumo. As for the Kyuubi, complications have arisen. The true nature of its Jinchuriki has come to light. Naruto Uzumaki is actually Naruto Namikaze, son of the legendary Yondaime. He has learned some of his father's abilities, making him incredibly dangerous. Even more, he has somehow merged with Kyuubi, making him a Hanyu. He is even more dangerous because of that, and it makes extracting the Kyuubi that much more difficult. They looked at each other. Finally, Kisame spoke up. So what do we do? It almost sounds like you're saying we should give up. Madara shook his head. No, what we need to do is proceed with caution. We must find a way to get the Kyuubi. At the same time, we must find a way to lure Naruto out, by himself, and strike him then. Otherwise, all we have done will be for nothing. They looked at each other and slowly nodded. Just as they were about to disperse, a Ram ninja ran in. Pain-sama, we received word on the 2 Jinchurikis. As Pain nodded, the ninja continued. We've learned that a Kage summit meeting will be held in River Country, and that the Raikage and Hokage are taking their Jinchurikis with them. Pain nodded in approval. Good. You are dismissed. The ninja nodded, and left. Madara smiled. Well, perhaps fate has smiled on us after all. It will take all of us to strike, but if we do this, and wipe out the Kages, we should be able to complete our mission. Prepare to move out. X. The following morning, Naruto, Hinata, and Kage waited for Tsunade to appear. The sun was halfway on its climb up into the sky, when the blonde medic Sanin appeared. She nodded to all of them, and they headed out. Hinata and Naruto walked up front, talking and holding hands, while their ears listened for various things. Tsunade smiled at the sight of them. Thank Kami for finally smiling down on this boy. X. Gaara and his siblings, along with Matsuri and Baki, headed out. Gaara felt the wind of his homeland ruffle his hair, and gave a small sigh of satisfaction. Perhaps now we can end the threat of the Akatsuki. X. The Mizukage just sighed as he stepped off the boat, and onto the solid ground of the mainland. He looked around at his surroundings, then headed on, his 2 bodyguards following. X. And you're telling me that the Jinchuriki for Konoha is a Hanyu? As the Raikage nodded, Kyuubi scratched at one of the few remaining burn marks on his body. He was mostly healed, but it was still taking some time for all of his injuries to finish healing. The other 2 ninjas behind them listened as the Raikage started talking. He's a Hanyu by the name of Naruto Namikaze. We know him better as the Fox Knight. Kyuubi whistled. That guy was dangerous, and he helped us. The Raikage nodded. He was simply doing his job for his village. You would do the same. Besides, he was most interested in your welfare, since you are like him. Kyuubi smiled. Then I can't wait to meet the kid. X. The Tsukuhikage glared at the report he was reading, as he prepared to leave for the summit meeting. Apparently, the Hokage had decided to bring along her pet Jinchuriki. What was worse, was who that Jinchuriki's father had been. Namikaze. If I have the chance, I will end that line once and for all. X. Madara smiled behind his mask, as he led the Akatsuki south towards River Country. They would have a few days to settle in, and wait. Then, all would be right. I will have my revenge on Konoha, and then, all will be well. X. That will be all for this video. Be sure to like, subscribe, share, and comment down below for more videos. Goodbye.